Shalom. Hey, I want to start off by giving all honor, all glory, all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rukaha, Kwadash. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, and double honor to the elders, prophets, and teachers who rule well and taught us this 100% true. Now, I'll be going into a situation that happened when I was out of town. Okay. So those of you who know me and that I've spoken to already, you know where I was at. I'm not going to give out any names in this going in over this topic. I'm not going to give out the location because I don't know what's going to happen legally as far as everything on that side. So Salakia for that. Okay. Once I find out if it's okay to release the name of these places, to warn the, release the name to these places, then I'll do so. But until then, there's an investigation going on, and I don't want to speak on the name of the area or anything like that. So again, Salakia for that, right? But I went over a lesson about this before I left, and that's the spirit. It was beautiful because the first thing that came to my mind was this lesson, right? And I did a lesson on Proverbs chapter 15, verse 1. A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. And I don't know if you I can remember, but there was a man who got ran off the road. He was on a motorcycle and he got thrown off the road because of road rage. Right? So this situation that unfolded was okay, so I had some family members, right? They went to a nursing home to visit another family member. Okay? So they found out, right? That this family member that was in a nursing home was being neglected. There were signs that she was being neglected. And they decided to take it upon themselves to fucking crash out. Okay? There was threats thrown. There's a bunch of arguing, a bunch of screaming, threats thrown around. And they ended up leaving the establishment. But they didn't take their relative with them, which infuriated me even more because that's just a lack of wisdom, right? You don't just go out and crash out on somebody to the point where a situation happens, their workplace is at jeopardy, and then you leave knowing that your family member was neglected. You should have took your family member with you, but they weren't using wisdom at all, right? What does the scripture say? Matthew chapter 10, verse 16, behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves, be ye therefore wise as serpents. Okay. They were not being wise, and harmless as doves. They were not being harmless because they were throwing around threats. Okay. Both sides, right? Let's get down to the middle of it. Let's get down to the bottom of it. Right. So they leaving their family member there. And the next day, that evening, right, their family member was found unconscious on the floor, right? And with bruises everywhere, a broken jaw, and I think a fractured skull, if I'm not mistaken, right? I'll correct it in the comment section, but I gotta go read my text messages again. But yeah, this shit infuriated me, man. Infuriated me because I was like, this was completely avoidable if you'd have just kept your cool. Or if you're gonna crash out like that, use wisdom, man. Pull your family. Why would you leave your family member in a place that you know they're neglected? Crash out on the staff and then leave them there with them. That's foolish, man. But it was a young woman, right? She ended up being allowed and given permission to come back into the building after her termination. And she came with a friend and they did the deed, right? And the family member ended up being hospitalized and so on and so forth. And this, like I said, man, this did not have to happen, right? You went in there, you crashed out, you fucking spoke crazy to this person who's responsible and who's over the care of your relative. You talk crazy to him, and you don't think anything is gonna come of it, man. Sometimes you just need to shut the fuck up, Jake. Shut the fuck up. Sometimes it's better not to say anything. But no, what does Jake do? Let's grab a precept. Right? A fool uttereth, Proverbs chapter 29, verse 11, Salakia. A fool uttereth all his mind, but a wise man keepeth it till afterwards, man. You should have kept that shit till afterwards. You should have pulled her out of that situation and then talked your shit and went in. And even then, you still shouldn't have been throwing around threats, man. But this was completely avoidable. Completely avoidable, man. Right? But no. You wanted to crash out, man. And Salakia, if I'm getting hot in the spirit, it's pissing me off, man. And it's not a sin to be angry. For some of you fucking Christians that might come in here and be like, oh, he's cussing, he's mad. You're not supposed to be angry, brother. That wrath, put it away. Shut the fuck up. Okay? What does scripture say? Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26, be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath, right? So it's not an evil thing to be angry, okay? Just like it's not an evil thing to hate. A lot of you say, oh, you shouldn't hate anyone, even though King David said he hates, the enemies of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua with a perfect hatred. But you completely ignore scripture, right, in order to come in and push your bullshit ass ideology. But nevertheless, forgive me. This situation was just pointless. It was stupid. It was a complete lack of wisdom. And what can you expect, man? These are a bunch of women. What can you expect? It says all wickedness is little, but to the wickedness of a woman. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And then women have no control. They're the weaker vessel. They have no control over their emotions. So they go in and they'll crash out at any point they want, whenever they want, right? But let this be an example to you, Akim, right? And to maybe someone who stumbles across this video that has an issue with their anger and just crashing out on people. Stop doing that shit, man. We're not in a time where you could be crashing out and everything be fine for you and that you actually go home, right? There's people who crash out in traffic and they're getting what? Pew pew. The dude's airing out the whole entire car, regardless if there's kids in it or not. The hearts of many have waxed cold, man. This is not the time. This is not the time to be in a crash out. This is not crash out season, man. Or shit, now Salaki, it is crash out season. So just as you crash out on someone, they're going to do it right back to you, and probably tenfold, because they're going to be in emotions. Okay? So hey, I pray that this was edifying. I know it was a subject that I had already touched on, but this is a situation that I heard about as soon as I got there. It happened when I was there. And yeah, I had to speak on it, man. Because that's absolutely unacceptable. Keep your shit together. We're in the last days. Stop crashing out on people, man, because you don't know what people are capable of. Salak, and you very well could be the reason that someone is unalived or critically injured. And we all know that's Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, right? I know that. I get that. But Jake, keep your emotions in check, man. Right? And with that, shalom.